Welcome to GCE 201, Motivation and Emotion. Study Session 1, Meaning of Motivation. Introduction. There are several things that can motivate you into doing something, acting, or taking a particular decision. You can be motivated to take a new job because of the raise in pay, to start up a new business because of the huge profit attached to such business, and it could be to travel because of the friends you will meet on the travel. Hence, so many things are attached to why you could be motivated. This study session will focus on the meaning of motivation and its concepts, learning outcomes. At the end of this study session, you should be able to 1. Define motivation. 2. Explain the concept of motivation. 3. Highlight major concepts of human motivation. What is motivation? Some why questions such as: why do you go to class each day? Why did Cain kill Abel? Why do you study for hours, sometimes even days, to pass examinations? And don't say to pass examinations. Why do professors teach students? And why do they test students? Why did you pick out those shoes or those pants to wear today? This motivating mechanism can be called many things: a habit, a belief, a desire, an instinct, a need, an interest, a compulsion, or a drive. No matter what it is labeled, it is this motivation that prompts us to take action. Indeed, the motivation comes from the verb to move. The concept of motivation. Motivation is a multifaceted construct that encompasses the underlying processes believed to initiate and direct behavior. Motivation is an internal state or condition, sometimes described as a need, desire, or want, that serves to activate or energize behavior and give it direction. Internal state or condition that activates behavior and gives it direction. Desire or want that energizes and directs goal-oriented behavior. Influence of needs and desires on the intensity and direction of behavior. For your purposes, you will define motivation as the force that 1. Energizes behavior. What initiates behavior? Behavioral pattern or a change in behavior. What determines the level of effort and how hard a person works? This aspect of motivation deals with the question of what motivates people. It attempts to explain the amount of effort or energy an individual puts into a task. 2. Directs behavior. What determines which behavior an individual chooses among the alternative actions, behaviors, or problems, solutions. This aspect of motivation deals with the question of choice and conflict among competing behavioral alternatives. 3. Sustains behavior. What determines an individual's level of persistence with respect to behavioral patterns. Why do some individuals keep working at something long after others have quit? This aspect of motivation deals with how behavior is sustained and stopped. It deals with the persistence and consistency of behavior. Franken, 1994, describes motivation as the arousal, direction, and persistence of behavior. Some psychologists maintained that the study of motivation is the study of all determinants of action, a position that equates motivation with the entire field of psychology. Some motivation theories assume that motivation is involved in the performance of all learned responses. That is, a learned behavior will not occur unless it is energized. The major question among psychologists in general is whether motivation is a primary or secondary influence on behavior. That is, are changes in behavior better explained by principles of environmental ecological influences, perception, memory, cognitive development, emotion, explanatory style, or personality, or are the concepts unique to motivation more pertinent? Major concepts in human motivation. Motivation results in goal-directed behavior that employs foresight as to the way in which that energy is being used, underlining that the energy input will act as an investment towards a preferable outcome. The importance of this from a professional standpoint is enormous, as much of what employees do is specifically delegated to capture present or future value for their company. The terms such as need, drive, motive are frequently used interchangeably, but each term is distinguished from the other. Motive is a general term which refers to any process, internal or external, involved in instigation, direction, and termination of behavior. All voluntary responses involve motivation. A drive state in the individual, the behavior aroused and directed by the state, and the goal towards which the behavior is directed. Thus, motivation is one of the determinants of behavior. Motivation is considered to be a state of the individual where his or her energies are mobilized selectively towards the attainment of a goal. It is an internal or external state of an organism that forces it into action to start upon a sequence of behavior. Therefore, motivation states are specific to particular drives and needs and are explained in terms of specific goals and the directions it takes. Motives cannot be observed directly. It is inferred from the behavior of the organism. Needs. These are the physiological or environmental imbalances that give rise to drives. A need is the absence of something desired, required for the organism's welfare. An individual is aware of his needs when he or she is in a state of deprivation. Drives. These are the effects of the deficits and lacks which define needs. Drives are the tendencies or urge to act in specific ways determined by the nature of the need that gives rise to the drive. For example, on account of fasting, the need for food gives rise to hunger drive. The hunger drive may then be seen as a motive for behavior relating to eating. Incentives. These are motivators of behavior. Like need and drive, incentive is a motivational concept which is associated with drive reduction components or subjective value attachment to a goal. Incentive means value or effectiveness of the goal as a motive of behavior. Further, a supplementary reward, for example, a bonus in a company job, a merit promotion in an office, serves as an incentive before reaching the goal. Annual prize ceremony in schools for high rank holders is an incentive for better performance in examinations. Habits. These are behaviors that are strongly influenced by stimulus-impulse associations learned through repetition of stimulus-response reward sequences. In most cases, habits serve to translate wants and needs into actions, the former acting as the stimuli. They are thus the building blocks of behavior. However, when higher goals are absent, for example, when we are absent-minded, they can come to control behavior. Reinforcers. From learning theory. These are stimuli following actions that make those actions more likely in the future. They need to be subdivided into stimuli that generate stimulus, impulse association, and those that generate wants and needs because they provide pleasure, satisfaction, or relief. Punishment. It refers to real or hypothetical events that are unpleasant and form the basis for needs. It can be real if the individual has experienced it, and this creates a need to avoid repeating the experience. It can be hypothetical in that we can tell someone about it to create a mental image with anticipated discomfort or pain. Goals. These are part of wants, needs, and evaluations. It is important to subdivide goals into those that are images to which anticipated pleasure, satisfaction, and relief are attached, and propositional level representations to which positive and negative values are attached. Attitude is a term that covers several different concepts. It can be a general characteristic of an individual, for example, positive versus negative attitude, reflecting the extent to which that individual shows evidence of wanting to do things. It can refer to positive or negative feelings about specific things, liking, disliking, potentially leading to wants and needs. It can also refer to positive or negative beliefs about things, evaluations. Study session summary. In this study session, you have learned that 1. Motivation as an internal state or condition, sometimes described as a need, desire, or want, that serves to activate or energize behavior and give it direction. 2. The various basic concepts in understanding human motivation. We have come to the end of study session 1. Thank you.